I don't really know whether to say I can't tour in the States right now or I can't tour in the States anymore.
So that's indie singer Bells Larsen, who announced last week that he is canceling his planned U.S. tour due to being unable to secure a visa in the wake of U.S. President Donald Trump's anti-trans immigration policies. And Larsen isn't the only trans musician from Canada changing plans. Toronto-based singer-songwriter T. Thomason also announced that he will be canceling upcoming tour dates south of the border due to the current restrictions.
I'm pulling out of the All Roads Festival in Maine that I was booked to play on May 16th and 18th. That's because it doesn't feel safe for me to go across the border into the States as a Canadian trans guy.
Larsen said that he was told by the American Federation of Musicians in an email that his visa to travel to the U.S. for his upcoming tour would not be processed.
I received an email from the American Federation of Musicians on Tuesday, basically stating that U.S. immigration will no longer accept identification that differs from one's assigned sex at birth. This affects me as a trans person because I got my passport altered to reflect my gender identity. It says M, and that means that I can't apply for a visa anymore and by extension tour in the United States.
And while Thomason said that he has a valid U.S. visa through June, he's canceling his appearance at a Maine-based music festival in May due to uncertainty around his safety traveling as a trans person to the U.S.
I just don't feel like it's worth the risk.
So Trump signed an executive order back in January requiring travel documents, including passports and visas, to only reflect a person's biological sex. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services updated its policy recently to reflect that executive order. And the Canadian musicians are not the first high-profile trans people to be caught up in all of this. Actress Hunter Schafer posted back in February about receiving a passport with an M gender marker from the US government. Now, multiple European countries have issued advisories warning trans travelers to take extra precautions going to the US, including Denmark, Portugal, Finland, and Germany. And Larsen said that while he could have tried to apply for a visa anyways, there are some very real risks involved.
I would have applied for a visa. Either the visa would have gotten denied or I would have tried to go through with this tour, and then upon crossing the border, I might have been detained in a women's facility.
Incidents of travelers from Canada and Europe being detained or turned away at the US border have ramped up since Trump's inauguration, including a Canadian woman on a work visa who spent 12 days in detention before returning home. In his post, Thomason called on the music industry in Canada to stand by trans artists impacted by these restrictions.
I really think it's important that the industry responds to this. I just really hope we might see something from the provincial music industry organizations that offer artists funding. And we need to be shown by our community, our music community in Canada, that this is not okay.